so much to everyone for coming to this meeting. We are so excited about the opportunity to implement Minority Small Business Launch Center here at Virginia State University. I wanted to, on behalf of the Reginald F. Lewis College of Business and the VSU Center for Entrepreneurship here, welcome you to this kickoff meeting. And I wanted to tell you that this is a Go Virginia funded program that we have launched here in order for us to spur minority entrepreneurship in the Richmond MSA. My name is Dr. Patrice Perry Rivers, and I am the director of the VSU Center for Entrepreneurship and the director of our new Minority Small Business Launch Center program. We are really pleased to be able to offer you an opportunity to gain access to numerous free resources, most of which are in the Richmond MSA, some that are outside, that can help you launch or grow your business through this program. We are very excited about your participation. This is to all of our entrepreneurs, both students and members of the community. And we are so excited about the participation of so many entrepreneurship support organizations and other institutions from throughout the Richmond MSA. Your presence here in partnership with us is indicative of your commitment to help minority businesses in our region. Now I'd like to confirm that Mr. O'Keefe, can you play a welcome video for our center done by U.S. Senator Tim Kaine?
Coming right up.
Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, Senator Tim Kaine here, and I want to offer my welcome to all innovators and entrepreneurs. I'm helping begin the Minority Small Business Launch Center at the Reginald Lewis College of Business at Virginia State University. An innovative program that is opening up, funded by Go Virginia, to help increase entrepreneurship among minority entrepreneurs all around the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm pleased to serve in the U.S. Senate and serve on the committee, Health, Education, and Labor Pension, that does a tremendous amount of work around education, higher ed, and workforce training. But we also need to not just do skills training, but to train young people in the skills needed to be innovators and entrepreneurs. Because when you can combine that skills training with entrepreneurial training, these students here at Virginia State and others will be creating the next businesses and solving the problems that our consumers want us to. Virginia has been ranked often as the best state for business. We don't want to just be the best state for existing business. We want the best state for entrepreneurs. And this center here at Virginia State can help us achieve that. So congratulations to all of you. And I encourage all students, whether you're in the business school or not, if you have an idea and you want to be an entrepreneur one day, come to this launch center and they'll put you on your way.
So we're so grateful for the support of Senator Tim Kaine. He came and visited our college last week, and so we're grateful for him being able to share that video with you. Now what I'd like to do is to introduce Dr. Omar Faison. He is our Vice President of Research and Economic Development for Virginia State University.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you, Dr. Perry Rivers. I just want to take a moment again to echo some of the opening sentiments that have already been voiced. We're particularly excited to see everyone here and participating in this opportunity to really get a feel for some of the resources that are available in our community to help support growing businesses and developing entrepreneurs. Happy to welcome back Mr. Rollins, who was a participant in the last of our seminars sort of like this, except this time he was more on the listening end than on the speaking end. So I was happy to see that sort of relationship between us and an entrepreneur evolved. This is going to be a long and busy day, so I do not intend to take up a whole lot of you guys' time, but welcome to all, and thanks to all who are supporting us as panelists and as support organizations here in the Richmond MSA.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Faison. And so now what I'd like to do is just to acknowledge the support that we've had to put on this programming from the Ward Room. They have been a wonderful support for us and have helped us with facilitating this Zoom session and planning the other activities associated with getting this up and going. So we'd just like to say thank you so much for your assistance, and we appreciate the help that you've provided. Now what I'd like to do is to give every one of the wonderful entrepreneurship support organizations and other institutions that are here the opportunity to introduce themselves and to tell us very briefly how your organization can help minority entrepreneurs in particular in the Richmond MSA. Everyone, if you could limit your introduction of yourself and of your organization to 1 minute maximum. Now I'd like to ask Mr. O'Keefe if he could display the order of presentation so that everyone will go in the order as you see on the screen.
Absolutely, Patrice. And ladies and gentlemen, 1 second while we get sharing. And this is going to require a little bit extra bit of choreography. So I hope you all brought your dancing shoes today. We've had such an overwhelming number of participants that because we have a mix of both panelists and folks who are representing organizations but who are not listed as panelists, we want to make sure that we do a good job of getting everybody into the right spot so that they can be seen and they can get a chance to showcase their phenomenal support provided by the various organizations on this group. To that end, I'm going to share my screen here, and it is possible that some of you will not be actually listed as panelists, and you may be representing one of the organizations here. What I'm going to do is go through just like a batting order in baseball. I will say the first group up front, and then I will say who's on deck next. If you're on deck next, I would ask that you use the little button at the bottom of your screen that says raise hand. That way I will be able to see when you're there. So it'll look, so I'm going to share my screen right now. We're going to put the whole list up on the screen of who's coming up. Again, this is not the whole list, but you're going to notice that is in very much just an alphabetical order. So this is how it's going to work. So first up is going to be BizWorks, and then that means that the Central VA African American Chamber of Commerce will be on deck. So let's just do a quick test here. So BizWorks representative, are you able to raise your hand? That would be Tanner Collins. Patrice, you're going to help me out here because since I'm sharing my screen, is Tanner Collins one of our panelists, or is Tanner one of the people listed as a participant?
Mr. Collins is
let's see. It looks like Tanner is listed as a participant. So Tanner, you're up. I have now allowed you to talk. You are free to go. That means next up is Central VA African American Chamber of Commerce. Can I get a hand raised from there while Tanner, you're up?
Right. Well, good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Very excited about the work that's going to be done here at the center. Had an opportunity to go down and visit and to share some of our information and also to learn about the exciting things that they're doing down there as well. And so BizWorks is a nonprofit business resource. And what we do is we work with small business in various stages so that we can make sure that they are going to we provide services, including we have a small business incubator and also have a virtual program that we can help small businesses to grow. And that's what we do.
Thank you very much. And looks like our next attendee is, I believe, Irvin Clark. I'm going to make you a panelist, Irvin, so that you will be able, your video will show nicely. And you are up and running. CIT, you're on deck. If I can get a hand raised, please. Thank you much. And Irvin, you are up. Irvin, let's making sure are you able to hear us? I see you. I'm going to ask you to, there we go. Now we see you're unmuted.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Irvin Clark, and I'm founder and chairman of the Central Virginia African American Chamber of Commerce. And it's good to be here this afternoon. Our Chamber of Commerce, our mission is to support and grow African-American businesses here in the Central Virginia area. We do that mainly in two fashions. One is through networking, where we provide opportunities for entrepreneurs to meet one another. And the second is through entrepreneurial education. And from the educational standpoint, this week, matter of fact, on Thursday, we launched our Black Business Accelerator program, which is designed for businesses that have been in business at least 2 years on an upward path. And we do everything that we can to cover the basics with some professionals, access to capital, organizational development, and those items to make sure that our businesses can grow and not just be single entrepreneurs, but that we can really be big companies. Thank you.
Wonderful. CIT, Conaway, you're up next. But Conaway, before you go, just as a reminder, there's 2 pages to this list. I'm going to just quickly pop over to this next slide. So this is going to be the second half of the list. So this is there's 2 slides, first half, second half. And for those entrepreneurs in the room, just a reminder, I know you've gotten several emails at this point from the doctors across the university system, across VSU and others. But just as a reminder, these are all resources who are available today and will be available for the most part additionally after our conversation today in the form of breakout rooms. So not only are they available and you can Google their names and get access to their details through the names here, but they will be available as part of breakout rooms at the very end. So we will be heading there. So heading next, Conaway, you are up, and that means that Doris Edmonds, you are on deck. Doris, if you can raise your hand. Thank you much, Conaway.
Good afternoon. I'm Conaway Haskins, the Interim Vice President for Entrepreneurial Ecosystems at CIT, which is the Center for Innovative Technology. We are the operating nonprofit arm of the Virginia Innovation Partnership Authority, which is an entity of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And today, I'd just like to talk to you very briefly in the time I have about a couple of programs that we have that both support innovation and technology startups, as well as innovators at the university level, so faculty, students, and entrepreneurs out in the community. The first of which would be our Commonwealth Commercialization Fund, which provides grants to promising university researchers or technology-based seed stage ventures that are doing commercialized research, developing proof of concept opportunities, conducting customer discovery, or actually developing their go-to-market products. The other fund that we have, which is actually an equity fund, is the CIT Gap Funds program, which makes equity and near equity investments in high potential tech startups, ranging from those that are just in mature stage, that are in concept stage into early revenue generation. Those are targeting Virginia-based startups. The Virginia Founders Fund, which I know folks in this session today may be particularly interested in, is a relatively new mechanism that allows us to make equity investments in seed stage technology startups that are led by women, people of color, and or veterans, as well as those tech startups that are located outside of Northern Virginia. We also have what's called the Federal Funding Assistance Programs, which help identify and accelerate opportunities for Virginia's small technology businesses to obtain the Federal Small Business Investment Research and Small Business Technology Transfer Research, STTR and SBIR, grants and contract opportunities. That program will provide both training opportunities as well as mini grants to help those who are going after those federal opportunities to basically contract with resource providers to provide technical assistance that they may need. And finally, the program I'll talk about as well is the Regional Innovation Fund, which actually supports organizations, the entrepreneur support organizations that are supporting innovators and entrepreneurs out in our communities. I'll be joined today's session by my colleague, Sean Mallon, who's the Vice President for Commercialization, and we thank VSU for the opportunity to participate today.
Excellent. Conaway, you are done. And Doris, you are up. George Mason, if you can raise your hand, you are on deck.
Hi, everyone. I'm Doris L Edmonds. I'm a practicing attorney. I've been practicing for about 41 years. So I've been practicing for a long time. I'm very pleased to be on board with this project because I'm looking forward to being able to offer services to individuals or entities that want to start small businesses. I have served in my background as a prosecutor, as a law professor, as an undergraduate school professor, as the managing attorney of the Senior Law Center. Throughout the course of my services, legal services, I have incorporated hundreds of businesses over the 41 years that I've been practicing. And I'm on board today to offer my services to provide any type of legal service that would be necessary when trying to determine the type of entity that an organization is going to start up with. At an appropriate time, I will always also give you information as to my preference as what's best for you. But there are several different types of legal organizations that you can have in order to get going. But I'm very pleased to be on board and look forward to offering my services to you.
Thank you very much, Doris. George Mason, I think we saw Josh up on the screen. Josh, I was just looking for, I couldn't remember if you were going to be representing George Mason or not. Josh in the audience, I think I saw you put a hand up.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, that means Henrico County Economic Development, you are on deck.
All right, perfect. Well, my name is Josh Green, and I'm the director of the Innovation Commercialization Assistance Program. We're a program of George Mason University and the Virginia SBDC, which is funded in part by the Small Business Administration. The Virginia SBDC is a network of 27 centers across the Commonwealth, including one in Richmond. And our centers are focused on assisting Virginia's small businesses with getting the assistance they need to find success. So this can include business planning, marketing, financial assistance, making sure that each small business and entrepreneur has what they need to, again, be successful. ICAP, my program specifically, is run out of the state office, but we work with companies across the Commonwealth. And our focus is on technology and innovation-driven startups, and we assist them through the entire startup lifecycle. So validating a business model, securing early sales and pilots, connections with funding, and then ultimately helping them transition to being a growth organization and scaling. We do this by providing one-on-one assistance from a team of successful intrapreneurs and entrepreneurs who follow lean startup methodology. And anybody who is interested can learn more by going to our website at virginiaspdc.org and under programs finding ICAP. I'm happy to follow up with anybody who has interest in learning more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Looks like Henrico County, you are up, and on deck is Hopewell Downtown.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am super excited to be here with you all. I'm Kayla Coleman. I'm the business representative with the Henrico Economic Development Authority. We are the economic development arm for Henrico County through our business attraction efforts, as well as through our business retention and expansion efforts. And one of the initiatives that we have surrounding our SWAM, our small women and minority-owned businesses, is simply getting our SWAM firms certified. And we do that in partnership with the Small Business and Supplier Diversity with the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we introduced the SWAM certification process from top to bottom. We actually have our webinar, our part 2 of our series here in 30 minutes. But the first series provides a brief introduction of the process and explains how being SWAM certified gives you a competitive advantage of doing business, not only in Henrico County, but as a region. We also encourage all of our new companies that are coming into the county to procure contractual services with some of our SWAM firms. We understand that building and bridging that gap is extremely important. And one thing I wanted to also note is that even though we work for Henrico County, the SWAM certification process is open to all businesses in the region. We want to make sure that we're spreading that wealth and that knowledge to all of the companies in our Central Virginia region that would like to get SWAM certified. So I am super happy to be here. I look forward to being a partner with Virginia State and their initiatives, and we look forward to all of the great things that we can do together as a region. Thank you.
Hopewell, you're up.
Greetings all. My name is Heather Lein. I am the director of the Hopewell Downtown Partnership. And I was actually just on BSU campus a little before lunch with Dr. Perry Rivers. So thanks for hosting me earlier today. Our organization is actually celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year. We are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to building a healthy, vibrant, and more prosperous central downtown district for the Hopewell community. We actually are part of the National Main Street Center, so we're accredited with them. And what that means is that we are one of 30 Main Street communities in the state of Virginia. We receive some technical support and counseling from the Department of Housing and Community Development, which coordinates the Virginia Main Street program. So some of the work that we do in downtown Hopewell is facilitating the rehab of historic buildings, building volunteer support through 4 committees that are focused on design, promotions and events, organization, so how we partner in the community, how we focus on inclusive development, and as well as design, promotions, organization, and economic restructuring or vitality. So that's essentially how we're supporting entrepreneurs and business owners in our community. We also plan a lot of events in downtown Hopewell. So we run the Hopewell Farmers Market, and we actually have our last street festival in downtown this Thursday. It's the last one of the summer. So from 5 to 8 p.m. in downtown Hopewell, if you guys want to get out, it's open air, great live music, lots of vendors and businesses staying open late to participate. And we also focus on generating positive press about Hopewell. It's a gorgeous small city. We have a lot of young entrepreneurs starting businesses, and there's a lot of energy downtown right now. So please come and visit us. Thank you.
Lighthouse Lab.
Great. Hi. Well, thanks for having us. My name is Erin Powell. I'm the executive director at Lighthouse Labs. We are a nationally ranked startup business accelerator here in Richmond. Our offices are at the 1717 Innovation Center downtown. And our mission at Lighthouse is to invest in the lives of founders. And we do that in a couple of different ways. The first way is that we invest a $20,000 equity-free grant into all participants that make it into our program. So we invest in founders financially, and then we also invest in them with programming, mentorship connections, and connections to capital. To date, we have accelerated 80 companies, and those companies have gone off to raise about 90 million in private capital and grow their businesses both here in the state of Virginia and beyond. So we're really excited to be able to partner on this initiative. And what we're offering specifically is programming around getting connected with investors and making decisions about whether or not your business might be ready for private investment. So thanks for having us.
All righty. And up next is Metropolitan Business League. Is Allison out there somewhere? There it is. There you are, Allison.
How are you doing today? Hi, my name again is Allison Hunter, and I'm Director of Operations and Programs at the Metropolitan Business League. And we've been around, the Metropolitan Business League has been around over 50 years. And we were created with the mission to support small women and minority-owned businesses. And you want to know how we do that? We do that through resources, trainings, community partnerships. What really, at least half of the individuals up here today, we are in partnership to bring those resources to you, because we believe, just like many of the others up here, we don't want any business to stay small. And if you have a business idea, we want to help cultivate that. What we're offering in partnership with Virginia State's Minority Small Business Launch Center is free access to our programs. We are offering you a 2-year membership, which is free to you, and you'll have access to programming and events. And we do have a lot of events. If you know anything about the Metropolitan Business Leagues, we have Remarkable Women's Luncheon, Women's Summit, monthly member recharge meetings. We have happy hours. We have a veterans program. We have an array of events and programs to support you in your business and your business idea. We have networking opportunities, one-on-one business consulting, co-working space, and peer coaching. We are looking forward to speaking to you and help you navigate all these resources. I have with me today Antonio Miller. He's our small business coordinator located in Petersburg at our City Point Innovation Resource Center. and Alexa Lightfoot, who's our program coordinator located in Richmond.
Thank you, Alice. And do we have Prince George? Is there a representative from Prince George County here today? You can put your hand, if you can click that raise hand button. All righty, going once, going twice, heading on to SBA. Is our SBA rep here? If you can click that raise hand button, if we can't see you, SBA. Shifting on to SBSD, any of our SBSD reps here today? I know a couple people were confirmed and there was some last minute changes. The great thing about our list is that we've had so many, such a good outpouring of support. All right, not hearing anything, then we're gonna move on to Startup Virginia. I know you're around, Startup Virginia. There we go. You're up, and that means Wardroom. Chuck, you're on.
Chris, am I up? Sorry, I couldn't see.
You are up. Yes, you are.
All right, great. Well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate and congratulations. Appreciate you having me, and congratulations on the launch. Startup Virginia is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports high growth startups. Our primary mission is to help our startups grow faster and smarter than they would have on their own. So essentially eliminating any barriers to success for them to work together. And we work very much in partnership with Lighthouse Labs, but also in the 1717 Innovation Center. One partnership we're really proud of, and I think is going to be relative to what you all are working as, is our partnership with Metropolitan Business League and the Entrepreneur Certificate. We do take our programming in the community really seriously and hope a lot of you can participate. And I know you'll be, the Entrepreneur Certificate is essentially the 9-class Entrepreneurship 101 class that is all available online now. And hopefully a lot of folks who go through the Minority Business Center will have access to that as well. So I really appreciate being included and look forward to working with you all.
Chuck, before you go, we have Martin Short has reminded us that he doesn't have access. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna be, let's see, Martin, I'm about to make you a panelist and you are up, Martin. You should be able to unmute yourself and go.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Great, good deal. Sorry about that. Hey, thanks a lot for having us on. And just to give you a brief rundown of SBA, we have essentially a platform of 4 core functions. And you probably can add a 5 to that, a 5th one to that, considering COVID. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But essentially, we provide counseling, and we do that through our resource partners, SBDC, SCORE, VBOC, PTAC, and the WBC. We also have a lending program, we call it Access to Capital. And I can talk about that as I get into the room with participants. We have government contracting, and we have disaster. With the disaster piece, we've come out with quite a few programs under that. As you know, PPP, RRF, Restaurant Revitalization Fund, the SVOG Shutter Venue Operators Grant, and also, of course, we have the EIDL. Now, all those programs essentially have ended, except for the EIDL. And so disaster, when we look at that and we think about it, we think about maybe a storm, but that's expanded now with COVID-19. So I can talk about that. Well, that's one of the big things that I try to impress upon folks who are looking at starting a business, is finding out and knowing what your resources are. It's important because you never know when something may happen. And this was certainly an event that caught everyone off guard. So essentially, at the end of the day, our job is to help businesses start, grow, and expand. And what that means is, if you start a business, you're giving yourself a job. So that's kind of the primary function, or one of the primary functions of the SBA. So I'm going to end it right there. Thank you so much.
Excellent. And working our way through, so Jeffrey, you're up next. I'm going to make you a panelist, followed by Randy, and then Chuck will be back to you for the wardroom. So we're going to go with Jeffrey, stand by, and you are now a panelist, Jeff. Let's double check. There we go. Jeff, you should be ready to go. Jeffrey Stoke.
Thank you. Jeff Stoke, Deputy County Administrator, Prince George County. As a local economic development organization, we handle site and building selection for entrepreneurs, enterprise zone, tourism zone benefits, starting a small business in Prince George County. We will actually shepherd you through all the red tape, help you with statistical data. Prior to COVID, we actually had a business roundtable that we ran annually. We do business troubleshooting, permits, processes, and plans. Also, prior to COVID, we held in-person small business workshops here at our library. And we are trying to hold our very first in-person business fair and hiring event October 22nd at our Central Wellness Center here in Prince George County. Details are still being developed. And if you don't want to locate in Prince George, we can connect you with a local economic development professional in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Randy, you're going to be, let's double check. Randy, are you able to come off mute? And if not, Randy, all right, Randy, now you have just been promoted to a panelist and you should be ready to go. Then followed by Chuck. Again, as a reminder, everybody, this is with the launch of the VSU Center, the wonderful outpouring of support. So make sure you're taking notes about groups that you might find interesting. There's a ton of resourcing here, no matter where you are in your entrepreneurial journey. And we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. So we'll be doing breakout rooms here shortly. So over to you, Randy.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so as mentioned, my name is Randy Brown, and I'm with the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. And as some people have already mentioned, I actually work with a number of business resource partners here, including the MBL, BizWorks, Henrico County, just to name a few. But our agency, we're a state agency, and we provide a number of different services. Starting with certification. So the SWAM program, and we administer the SWAM certification program. And the SWAM program is a state program whereby the state has an aspirational goal of spending 42% of discretionary spending with SWAM certified firms. So we manage that program. We help firms become SWAM certified, and we monitor that as well. Within certification, we also administer the DBE certification program. And DBE certification is a federal program owned by the U.S. Department of Transportation. So if your business is in any way involved with transportation, you want to look at that DBE certification as an option, because it's just further ammunition for you to, or within your marketing arsenal. So in addition to certification, we provide business development and outreach services. And that's the area that I'm in. And through BDOS, I've been with the state for a while, so I'm used to acronyms. So forgive me if I throw out acronyms off the tip of my tongue. But with BDOS, we provide one-on-one business counseling. And for this area, I'm the business services manager serving this geographic footprint. But we also provide business development workshops, as well as a result of COVID, everything is being done virtually. So we have webinars going on literally all the time. And there are 5 business services managers located throughout the state, and we all put on webinars. Again, as a result of COVID, everything is done virtually. We all put on webinars related to business development. So you might be in this geographic area, but you might see a webinar down in Southwest Virginia that you can readily attend, because now everything is being done virtually and you don't have to travel for 3.5 days to get there. So in addition to, as a part of business development and outreach services, we also have a program, which is a very strong program. It's called Scaling for Growth, where we partner with an organization, a nonprofit organization out of Boston called Enterprise. And through Scaling for Growth, well, it is just that. We take businesses and help them to scale. Now, the criteria for participation in the program is not designed for startups. You have to have some girth under your belt. But this is a national program through Enterprise, and the program in Virginia is the #1 rated program in the country. We also have the #1 facilitator.
And Mr. Brown, we got a good agenda coming up. I want to make sure you go ahead and wrap it up in maybe 10 more seconds, and then let's head on to our next presenter.
Okay, we also provide, and that is a free service, as it's all of our services are free. But we also provide access to capital through the Virginia Small Business Financing Authority, where we provide direct as well as indirect loans. My contact information I have placed in the chat, and if I don't get a chance to meet with you today, please feel free to reach out to me, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Wonderful, wonderful. Chuck, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Chuck Mills, and I am the co-founder of our group known as the Wardroom that Patrice was nice enough to mention a little earlier. Just as a side, Chris, our trustee administrator, is also a member of the Wardroom. The Wardroom is a 21-year-old organization that is a dinner club of sorts of U.S. Naval Academy graduates, all of whom have served in the military and are now successful entrepreneurs and/or business executives. As part of our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative of last year, our members have all decided to volunteer to work with HBCUs and provide one-on-one mentors to startup and early stage companies. Our DEI goal ultimately is to sort of help close the wealth gap in this country. And we believe that having an experienced mentor at your disposal can aid you in developing a successful business. I'm personally on my 5th business, and I'm happy to be a mentor, preferably to an HBCU startup company. In fact, you'll hear from Mr. Nolan Rollins here shortly. He happens to also be receiving mentorship from one of our mentors in the Wardroom, and I look forward to hopefully meeting you and talking with you if you have any other questions about our program when you visit our table. Thanks.
Thank you, Chuck. VCU, if you can get a hand raise or come off mute. Not seeing a hand raised, VCU. All righty, let's go with Virginia Community Capital.
Hi, good afternoon. Leah Freeman here. I'm Senior Vice President and Director of Community Innovation at Virginia Community Capital. We are a 15-year-old going on 16-year-old statewide community development financial institution. And so what that means is that we work across the state with small businesses, towns, localities, nonprofits to provide financing and support services or advisory services. We do that in commercial real estate lending and also small business lending. Our small business tools, kind of your run-of-the-mill commercial loans. We are also an SBA preferred lender, so we are skilled in the 7A product and the 504 program as well. We can talk about that offline outside of this group. In addition to that, my team, the team I get to be part of, provides free advisory services and business counseling to potential borrowers or even just community members that would benefit from some of our expertise in the capital space. In addition to that, we house the Capital Region Small Business Development Center. Josh gave us a good overview earlier about what that resource is, but the VCC, the Richmond SBDC, is housed under our umbrella for the Richmond MSA. What I wanted to share with you today is information about our Economic Equity Fund. And this is a newer fund for VCC, and it is capital that is focused on supporting Black and Brown and women-owned businesses. This is lending capital, but it is below market interest rates. We have tools, capital tools to help offset down payment shortfalls or collateral shortfalls. We also, in addition to that, have free, again, like I said earlier, advisory services that go with that fund. So we are, it's a couple $1 million fund. We are very actively working the market, trying to get this capital into the hands of Black and Brown business owners, hoping to support their scale and sustainability. Happy to answer any questions in the booth setting, but I will also put links to the web pages in the chat.
Thank you very much. And let's see, Virginia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Virginia Hispanic Foundation. Let's see. All righty, excellent. Thank you.
All right, hi guys. My name is Nicholas Johnson. It's really happy to be here. I've seen a lot of familiar faces here today, actually, that I've spoken to. So hi to all you all again. So I'm the Director of Sales Operation for the Virginia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Chamber was founded over 20 years ago. We have offices in Northern Virginia in Tyson's Corner with the Fairfax Economic Development Center, in Richmond, right off Midlothian Turnpike with Bank of America, as well as Hampton Roads. Our service and our chamber serves as the voice for the Latino population throughout the state. We receive over 1.3 million views a year from the population. We use this major visibility to, of course, enhance the visibility of Latino businesses throughout the state and to promote resources like from a lot of businesses that we're talking to today. Our mission is to build economic bridges throughout the state in order to create, promote, and enhance business opportunities for the Hispanic and Latino community. During this time, and especially during COVID, our programs, we've done over 150 classes designed to help businesses market during this time, pivot during this time, and keep doors open. We offer a job matching platform called Trabaja VA for businesses looking for new bilingual talent. We help businesses mirror this growing community. We offer business mixers, job fairs, and much more. Finally, tomorrow is the start of Hispanic Heritage Month. So if you guys don't have anything planned, please make sure you're checking out the Virginia Hispanic Chamber website at vhcc.com for up-to-date events and for Hispanic Heritage Month activities. But thank you guys so much.
And I'm Lisa Zazier. I'm the Educational Executive Director for all the educational programs of the Virginia Hispanic Foundation, which was established in 2003 and is a nonprofit affiliate of the Virginia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And the foundation's mission is to provide the Hispanic community with education and information to successfully integrate themselves in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And the foundation's core programs include, which Nicholas touched on, the Bilingual Business Development Center, providing the bilingual counseling, educational workshops to individuals interested in starting or growing their business, and the Pasaporte a la Educación initiative, which prepares our future workforce through mentoring and bilingual leadership programs for Hispanic students in elementary, middle, and high school. It includes bilingual educational web portal, bilingual workshops, college tours as well. And we're excited to implement Pasaporte a la Educación programs in a hybrid model, in person and virtual format, moving forward in a proactive way to make that positive impact on the educational future of Hispanic students. And the hybrid offers this global mindset addressing those negative stereotypes affecting how Hispanic students are perceived and perceive themselves, along with some issues Hispanic students face in like not belonging or fitting in with the US mainstream culture or their own cultural heritage and tradition. So the program's results have included 90% of the students in our programs increased attendance, improved 1 or 2 letter grades in 2 or more subjects, and improved study habits and reading fluency in English and Spanish. Then also our other core program are the legal and civil assistance clinics, which help the low-income individuals with immigration and civil issues. So the foundation programs aim to strengthen the minority business sector and ultimately aid economic growth in Virginia. And the ultimate goal is to connect the community with the vibrancy and richness of the Latino culture while reaffirming that the Commonwealth of Virginia is a great place to live and work for all.
Thank you, Lisa. Virginia. Virginia Union, put a hand up if we can see. Looking for Virginia Union. Okay, seeing nothing. We have not yet heard confirmation from Chesterfield, Colonial Heights, Petersburg, or Richmond. Can I have a hand if you are up? Is that Evelina? Is that you?
Yes.
All righty, great.
Evelina
You're up.
Mecheva, Virginia Commonwealth University. I'm the head of VCU Innovation Gateway. This is a full-service technology transfer office responsible for intellectual property protection, commercialization, marketing, licensing. Also responsible for industry collaborations, new venture creation, entrepreneurship education. We're looking forward to a very beneficial collaboration in terms of research, new intellectual property generation together with VSU, and startup support as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, very much for your participation. I'm going to turn it back over to Patrice for the main event of our program. I will, so just as from an administrative note, as you may have heard early on, we had an incorrect link get sent out just before the start of our event. So that means several more panelists than originally intended came in. You may have noticed that most of you were named Mr. Rollins. And Mr. Rollins, our esteemed keynote today, is looking around at people that don't exactly look like him. So during this next presentation, I will be removing people and sending you back down to your attendee role so that we can make sure that the focus is on all of the wonderful knowledge from Patrice and her team, and of course, Mr. Rollins. Patrice, back over to you.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone for participating in this event. We are thrilled to have all of you here. And what I wanted to do is to just take 2 quick minutes before I introduce Mr. Rollins to talk to you a bit about what the specific programming and purpose is for the Minority Small Business Launch Center. I wanted to share my screen with you very quickly so that I can show you our website so that you will know how you can find out more information about the Minority Small Business Launch Center. But if you see our site here, it's minoritysmallbusinesslaunchcenter.com, literally. And on that site, what you're able to do is you're able to see what the purpose of our program is. What we really specifically want to do is we want to, through the support of all of these wonderful organizations and through funneling all of you entrepreneurs to the resources that these organizations offer, and some that we will offer you as well, we want to make sure that we can ultimately end up with at least 100 certifications awarded so that businesses are very well prepared to launch viable businesses that can survive. We want to make sure that we provided some useful training to at least 300 entrepreneurs, have about 2,000 training contact hours at least. We want to have 40 businesses founded, 40 businesses expanded. We want everyone, for the most part, to be satisfied with what we've been able to do in terms of connecting you to the very useful resources that already exist in the Richmond MSA. We want to ensure that there are businesses with at least 10 new products that are viable products able to be commercialized on a significant scale that we produce, and to have at least 5 patent applications amongst the minority communities that exist here in the Richmond MSA. On this site, you'll be able to find out what we have accomplished so far. And this gives you an idea that we've been able to provide 42 certifications so far. And we've had 74 entrepreneurs trained, many of whom are high school and college students. But we, again, are a program that is something that everyone in the community can access. So if you are an entrepreneur, a student of entrepreneurship of any age, we'd like to be able to assist you. In particular, what I wanted everyone to know is that you can access student and faculty-led technical assistance to help your business. So if you need a student to help you with a social media page, or if you need a student to help you with a spreadsheet where you list all of your products that you're trying to import into some e-commerce software program, then we're happy to provide you with access to that. Obviously, you have access to the startup certification training that's offered through Startup Virginia, which is a wonderful existing organization that offers certification training, in addition to certification training that you can access that VSU has created that takes you through feasibility analysis of your business so that you can assess its potential for commercialization before you invest so much time into planning. You can have access to co-working space through some of our partners, particularly the Metropolitan Business League, City Point Innovation Center, depending upon availability. And then you can also have scheduled access to co-working space here in our Center for Entrepreneurship at VSU on a scheduled basis. You're going to have access to a lot of the training, particularly related to investor and venture capital that Lighthouse Labs indicated that they will specifically provide, as well as the training related to that many of our other partners have as part of their programming. You'll get access to regional entrepreneurship and networking events. One of the things that we are doing on our site now is we have listed all of the events, or we are going to plan on listing the events from many of the organizations that are already partnering with us. For example, we have the National Hispanic Heritage Month and Restaurante Week publicized on our website, and we will soon have other events from the Metropolitan Business League, from the Central Virginia African American Chamber of Commerce, and from all of the other municipalities and entrepreneurship support organizations that have training and events that are of use to all of you guys here and who are interested in growing or launching a business, We'll facilitate access to the already existing training programs for the SBA and the SBSD. We're very proud to have you guys participating with us so you can focus on how to access federal government resources to help you with launching your business, and then also state resources to get you SWAM certified so that you're able to do business with the state. You're going to get some intellectual property protection training through a workshop that we have on patents and trademarks and copyrights. And then also you'll get free legal business formation counseling from a former magistrate judge and someone who's been a successful entrepreneur and William and Mary law professor for some time. You'll be able to, if you're a student, take advantage of college innovation fellowships and consultancies that have been the direct result of funding and partnerships with so many wonderful corporations, including MetroStar, who have decided to give us funding for this. And then we have some high school youth entrepreneurship training programs, including our CEO to Be summer program that we hosted in partnership with the Metropolitan Business League and Girls for a Change this summer. That was a great success, and where we had several viable concepts that were introduced by high school students. We will also pay for memberships for those of you guys who apply for it based on our funding availability, to memberships with the Metropolitan Business League, the Central Virginia African American Chamber of Commerce, and the Virginia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, so that you'll be able to take advantage of the resources that they have to offer. We're going to also have pitch competitions for everyone that goes through our certification program at VSU or through the Startup Virginia certification training programs. And we give you guys a template that everyone will have to follow so that everyone is judged on the same plane for those pitch competitions. And we'll have those pitch competitions every semester. And then you'll be able to have scheduled access to our product concept development technology that we are going to be outfitting our Center for Entrepreneurship with. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what we plan to do with this program. And I wanted to say again, thank you so very much for all of the wonderful entrepreneurship support organizations in the Richmond MSA and beyond that have agreed to be partners with us on this program. And we are so excited about these resources that we have to offer to entrepreneurs. So now what I'd like to do is to briefly introduce our speaker. We're excited because our speaker is a VSU alum, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about him now. Let me stop sharing my screen with you. So Mr. Nolan Rollins is an attorney and the co-founder and CEO of SmartMouth. And SmartMouth is a sports-related wearable technology company. He is a serial entrepreneur, and Mr. Rollins is also the co-founder of Stock Savvy, Pro Se Go Law, the G.G. Hunter Collection, and Pivotal Advisors. He is the former president and CEO of the Los Angeles and the New Orleans Urban League. He's also the former chairman of the New Orleans Airport Board, and he's a member of the Los Angeles International Airport Board of Commissioners. Mr. Rollins has advised members of the House, the Senate, governors, and mayors throughout the nation for over 15 years. And notably, he graduated from Virginia State University in 1994 with a Bachelor of Science in Public Administration with a concentration in economics. And so now what I'd like to do is to ask Mr. O'Keefe if he could share a brief video about SmartMouth for our participants.
Coming right up. Almost coming right up. We had a good technical test early, and now we seem to be having technical difficulties. 1 second, let's do it one more time. All righty. Up comes. Well, Patrice, we don't seem to be able to get our video to play, and I cannot tell you why. So I think we should just push, because we have such a smart, talented guest that I don't want to even distract one more second from all the good things he has to say.
I tell you what I could do is, if you want to share the screen, I have it queued up. I'm in technology. We do it all day.
Okay. That would be great. We're happy to have you share it, Mr. Rollins, if it's already queued up for you.
Go for it.
So one thing that you'll have to do, Mr. Rollins, is to share your audio with the rest of us.
I'll do that right now. Got it.
Sure.
Smart Mouth is a revolutionary, one-of-a-kind biometric mouth guard. It helps to maximize performance and acts as an early warning system, providing an athlete with life-saving real-time data, like heart rate, hydration levels, core body temperature, COVID-related symptom detection, respiratory rate, and many others. Smart Mouth, saving the game one life at a time.
You know, I was going to ask you, do you mind share it? Because we didn't actually see your screen while it was playing. So we heard it, which was so exciting to hear. If there's a way that you could share your screen with us and then play it for us one more time.
We are going to get this right.
It's a really exciting product too.
All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Let's try.
Smart Mouth is a revolutionary, one-of-a-kind biometric mouth guard. It helps to maximize performance and acts as an early warning system, providing an athlete with life-saving real-time data, like heart rate, hydration levels, core body temperature, COVID-related symptom detection, respiratory rate, and many others. Smart Mouth, saving the game one life at a time.
Thank you. So Mr. Rollins, I'd like to actually ask you a few questions so that we can find out about your journey in order for you to give everyone here the opportunity to see what's involved with starting and launching a business. So tell me really how you conceived of the concept for Smart Mouth, and maybe a bit about people who helped you conceive it.
Yeah, so let me just first thank all of you for the opportunity to be here with you. Thank Virginia State University, my alma mater, who certainly without which I would not have this opportunity to be here. Virginia State actually cared about a person, and I'll quickly tell you what that actually means to me. I also want to thank the other partners. I think it is incredibly important to have partners. If you do not have a mastermind, particularly as an entrepreneur and as a place that's wanting to be an anchor institution when it comes to actually building this economic ecosystem, it becomes really difficult. And also thank our friends at the Ward Room, both Chuck, who actually spoke, and then Harry Lee. So for me, Smart Mouth is very personal, right? So I'm a former collegiate wrestler, so the way that I get to Virginia State University is wrestling. The way that I actually get there is also the thing that almost killed me. So I spent many a day in the hospital. I had dehydration, knocked my front tooth out, but it was the way for me to actually get out of Baltimore City. It was the way for me to leave where I was to actually, at the time, to get to a school to wrestle. But what I didn't realize, it was to get to a school to actually give me an incredible knowledge and skill base and turn that on. So the short for Smart Mouth itself as a product, the co-founder who actually, Dana Hawes, who is also a Virginia State alum, reached out to me one day and said, hey, I was watching LeBron James and he was playing basketball and they were talking about him cramping. And they just kept talking about him cramping and saying that he was dehydrated and had to get an IV drip. And he said, I wonder, and he kept seeing him pull his mouth guard out of his mouth. He says, I wonder if there's something that we can do with that mouth guard to actually help he head that off. Now, of course, he reached out to me because he knew my story. He knew that I had been in the hospital a number of times. He knew that I had gone to Virginia State, actually literally came there to wrestle. But he also had been watching me starting businesses around the country for the last 15 years and really wanted to see if it was something that I thought was a viable thing. Clearly I did, because again, spending the time that I did in the hospital with a mother who certainly couldn't afford for me to actually be in the hospital, with a mother who couldn't get off of work, but that was what I needed to do to actually get out of school. So that's where Smart Mouth was born. It was born out of a thought. I wonder if we can change a pain point that a star athlete is having. It was born out of a reality of a small Black kid from Baltimore City who was wrestling his way out of the city and into higher education. And that's really where it came from. So it's one part pain, and it's also one part solution. So that's why it's extremely important to us. And quite frankly, Smart Mouth wouldn't be here. We wouldn't even be a thing without Virginia State University, because that's where Dana and I actually met. So then if you could just give me an idea of some of the things that you needed, give us an idea of what you needed to launch. What is it that you needed to bring that concept to fruition? Yeah, so I would tell anyone who's an entrepreneur is this, just because it's a pain point for you doesn't mean it's a pain point for everyone. And you've got to really make get a real understanding as to whether or not there's a big enough market to do what you want to do. Now, again, we're in technology. We're into doing very big things. Are there small businesses that can do other things with small markets? Absolutely. But the principles are the same. The principles are understanding what your market is, understanding who your customer is going to be, and what you're going to need to do to ensure that you're either inciting very, very, very specific things in them. You're either inciting joy because it's something that they want to do because they will enjoy it, or you're reminding them of a pain point that they're living with right now, that if they had this product, they would be able to no longer live with that. So number one, I would tell everyone, understand your customer, understand the market, because just because it's a pain point for you does not make it a business. It only makes it a pain point for you. So I think that's the first thing, understanding that. Then for us, the second thing was really saying, okay, what kind of technical expertise do we need to do this? Because I fundamentally believe that if you're building a business, particularly if you're in technology, you really need two very strong or three very strong people from a technology standpoint that can help you build the technology. You need people who can actually run the company, who can talk about the company, who can organize the company, who can build a company. But you've got to have people on your team who can actually help you to build the technology. So the way that I personally look at this, now, again, I will say this, there are a million ways to be an entrepreneur. I have a very specific way around how I think it should work for me. How I think it should work for me in the technology space is when I'm building a company and I'm looking for my technical support or my technical help, I'm identifying technical people who can actually help me do what I call building to a water's edge. And what that means is what I'm really most interested in is how do I build internally, bootstrap internally, where I own the IP, where I own the trademark, where I own everything before I decide to go external to help me build my go-to-market version or to raise capital from someone externally. So I'm looking for people who can do that. So for me, it's engineers, right? It's embedded engineers. It's people who understand IoT, people who understand sensors. So I would say very clearly, if you're going to build a business, understand a few things. Understand your customer and the marketplace that it's actually going to come from and what they're really needing, what they look for. Understand what technical needs and or support you're going to need. And then understand if you are the right person to be the CEO of the company. Because just because it became your idea does not mean that you should automatically be the CEO. And be comfortable with that, right? Like the one thing that entrepreneurs absolutely have is an ego. We believe that we can solve everything. But the truth is, if you're building something that's bigger than you, then it's actually bigger than you. So if you are not the right person to be the CEO of the company, to lead the company, Be comfortable with that fact. You may have come up with an amazing idea that's going to solve an incredible problem or bring great joy to people, but you may not be the person who's right to actually lead and build the company. And you have to be comfortable with that being a fact. So those are the kinds of things that I really think about really early on when I'm thinking about building a company. And again, what we build for is we build for it to solve big problems. Like, we're really interested in solving big problems. And I'll talk to you a little more. We'll get into it about how big we actually think SmartMouth is from a technology standpoint.
So you talked about a plan. You didn't say that you had one for sure, but what you did is you clearly indicated that you wanted to identify your target market. You wanted to both qualitatively assess who they would be, and then you wanted to quantitatively get an idea of how many of them existed. So did you have a formal business plan? What role did a formal business plan or some sort of feasibility analysis play in your launch of SmartMouth?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I don't think an idea is just an idea. An idea doesn't become a business until you actually have a plan to execute that idea. Mm-hmm. So absolutely a business plan. So for me, what I did was just short circuit a lot of the things in what's in the business plan. So for me, there's a human capital part of the business plan. Who do I need to help me build this actual company? There's an intellectual property part of the business plan. When we build this, what is it that we need to actually protect and make sure that we're keeping, because that's where the real value of the company actually sits. Mm-hmm. There's a part of the plan where it's really focused on the customer, right? So customer validation, customer inquiry. So how do we actually look at customers and do focus groups? How do we actually do type form interviews and things like that? So those are very much that's my short circuit way of saying absolutely there's a business plan. But there's also a business plan for building and developing the product, right? So I literally know everything that we can do internally from building the product. I also know everything that we need to do externally for our go-to-market. Mm-hmm. So I have roadmaps for our product development, roadmaps for my fundraising, roadmaps for my human capital, and all of those things. So your question is spot on. An idea is just an idea. If it does not have levied behind it the strong foundation of a strong business plan and a business model, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to work because there's so many variables that exist in entrepreneurship that if you don't have a solid base to actually stand on, from which you can make quick decisions from, mm-hmm. you're going to be spinning your wheels for a very long time. So I hear the underlying question in your question. So having a business plan is critical. It does not get done properly without having that there.
So planning is important. So this is what we want to make sure that we reiterate for everyone here. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is, do you think that because you had a plan, even if I don't know the extent to which yours was fully written, but when you communicated your plan to others, were you able to garner more support, both in terms of them being able to visualize the value that your product would be able to offer, and then maybe even when you went to investors, then being able to see, okay, there is market potential here for this particular product. So if you could tell me about the value that it offered you in the marketplace.
Yeah. So it offered tremendous value, but I also want to say this. So I have been an extremely fortunate person who's had an embarrassment of riches, both with mentors and with opportunity. So by the time I'm building SmartMouth, I had already had mentors who taught me how to build companies and organizations where, frankly, my largest company and organization, I was managing upwards to $20 million, right? So for me, I just took those same kinds of business and planning pieces and actually moved them. So I wound up going to New Orleans. I leave Baltimore and wound up going to New Orleans to be the CEO of the Urban League there post-Katrina, because I actually understood how to rebuild that, because I had an actual plan to actually rebuild the Urban League, rebuild its operations, rebuild its capital, rebuild the work that it was actually doing there. Very specific plan. I had to show that plan to the board of directors for them to say, yes, we want you to be the person. Same thing with the airport. I had to show a very specific plan. How do we rebuild this airport? How do we actually create the space where we're going to build a new airport? Again, same thing with LA and all of the other companies that I've had. And I will tell you that, and I say this to entrepreneurs that I actually mentor all the time, you're the expert in the room. I don't care how much money the person who's investing in your business is going to invest. You've got to come in with a very specific plan and talk to them in a very specific way about what you expect to happen with this. Whether or not it's always going to happen, there are variations, but you've got to have a plan, because someone who's going to invest in you, both time, talent, and or treasure, wants to see that you actually understand what execution looks like, because that's what entrepreneurship is. It's execution. You may have a wonderful idea and you may have the compassion and passion to do that, but passion and compassion do not make a company. Execution is what makes a company, and execution requires you being very methodical and very specific, if not surgical, with the way that you're talking about what you're doing, because what you're doing is you're engendering in the listener that person then says, oh, I'm going to invest because this person actually knows what they're doing. They plan. Now, will the plan have to change? May you have to iterate? May you have to pivot? Absolutely. That's not what I'm saying. But I will tell you that if you can walk through the door with a plan, your chances of support go much higher than they would without a plan. There's no question about it.
So then if you could tell us about what are some of the challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur, and then even if you could expand on that and tell us if there were any specific that you feel as if you've faced, not only perhaps with SmartMouth as a minority entrepreneur, but as a serial entrepreneur, are there specific challenges that you face?
Yeah. So it's interesting. You with me, you get a very interesting perspective when it comes to entrepreneurship and economics, right? You get a perspective of a CEO of a civil rights organization that is focused on economic inclusion and development, right? And then you get an entrepreneur who understands capital and capital markets and capitalism. So what you wind up getting is a person who is really specific about what this looks like. We cannot pretend. The stock market was started, it was called the Buttonwood Agreement. The stock market was started by 24 white men in New York, and it said literally on a half a page of paper that we will only trade with these 24 people. That's it. No one else gets into the stock market. So let's think about how capitalism actually started in this country. It started in a very closed way. So if you fast forward to now, it's still very closed. So we shouldn't pretend that when we look at the venture capital and we look at investing in those things that it's dismal in terms of the numbers of dollars that entrepreneurs who are of color, who are women, are actually getting. Well, it actually was never actually built for that group of folks. So again, the beauty is you actually get from me not just this ethereal conversation about what it looks like. You get practical, pragmatic ways of actually having someone who's worked in cities, worked in entrepreneurship from city to city, from Baltimore to New Orleans to LA, and can tell you very specifically that the challenge of being a woman or a minority entrepreneur in our country is greater than it's ever been. Are there more opportunities than there ever been? Yes, please, everyone listening, don't think that I'm saying there aren't. That's not there. But the challenges are larger because the opportunity, just in terms of the deep investment that's required for large scale entrepreneurship and large scale building, is isolated. Mm-hmm. It's in very small spaces. So there are extreme challenges there. But for me, that's also why it's really important that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, that it's more than just a passion, a feeling, or a fleeting desire. Mm-hmm. Because you have got to have desire, faith, and the ability to execute. And if you have those things and are willing to actually grind to do those things, you have a better chance of actually getting there. Does it mean that you're absolutely going to get there? No, it doesn't. But it means that you will have a better chance to get there. And I do think, just quite frankly, just being candid, it's an uphill battle for entrepreneurs of color, particularly in technology.
Mm. And that was actually going to be my next question for you. I'm glad that you said that.
No, particularly in technology, because it is, let's be really clear about what's happening in our country and around the world. Mm-hmm. What's happening in our country and around the world is that we're actually leapfrogging by generations in terms of how technology is used. And what's even more important is what's happening with this technology. Right now, the real space and place where technology is being moved is data. Okay, anyone says data is the place where our world is going. It's data creation, data, actually aggregating data, getting data in. Data is the space. So I don't care if you're on a social media platform, you may call it social media. It's a data platform.
It's true.
People are gathering data about you, about your proclivities, about what you actually like, what you don't like, and making decisions about what they're going to push to your phone. SmartMouth is a data company.
It's true.
It's an absolute data company. So while we are starting with a mouth guard, and we're starting, because again, to your earlier question, do we have a business plan? We are actually very focused on the mandatory mouth guard space for a specific reason. So there are 35 million straight up amateur athletes, children who are playing in the mandatory mouth guard space. There are 420,000 at the collegiate level, and there are 25,000 at the professional level. The question is, Nolan, why would you start there? Because I don't actually have to change behavior. These people have to wear mouth guards anyway. Do it anyway. So why would I try to go into a marketplace first where I have to change behavior? So again, business plan. Understand where the opportunity actually exists. Focus your thoughts in that direction, and then move judiciously there. But the truth for us is SmartMouth is a big data play because it's ultimately about predictive analytics. I want to be able to say that we're gathering incredible data so that I can tell you that if you're of a class of folks who has the potential for high blood pressure or hypertension, I want to be able to tell you these are all the things that you should be doing throughout a lifetime to prevent that from happening. And the best way that you can actually do that is have good data for that. So we want to absolutely save lives. There's no question about that. We want to make sure that anyone who has died by dehydration or heart issues, we want to save all of those lives. But what we actually want to do is we want to get in front of even having to save them. We want to get to the place where we're able to predict and make sure that we're actually creating a roadmap, a plan for your health. So I think that the space for opportunity in technology is tremendous. I think the hill that we climb for technology, is particularly as it comes to minorities, is difficult, and it's not for the faint at heart. But if you really believe in yourself and you believe in what you're doing and actually have an executionable plan, I say go for it. I say go for it.
And so I know that we're running short on time, and I want to make sure that we leave some time for breakout rooms. I did have a couple of questions for you about risk aversion in the minority community, particularly amongst college-educated minorities, just because my own research shows that when I looked at the 50 MSAs and I did this economics focused paper, we were looking at the lower entrepreneurship rate amongst minorities, and it kind of almost always gets explained away about we don't have enough wealth. But when I looked at some of the areas where we do have higher levels of education, and we do have people that have technology degrees and other degrees where they can deal with data analysis and maybe even be in the sciences and tech, they're still not choosing entrepreneurship. And so, I want to get your take on that. So what can we do in order to inspire minorities that have a background that probably prepares them to have more scalable, successful enterprises to take this leap and to choose to engage in entrepreneurship? And that will actually probably have to be the last question that I give you.
Absolutely. So I think that we've actually been conditioned to look for our name on the back of the check, not the front of the check. And we've actually been conditioned to actually think about ourselves in ways where let's get a good education, whether it be in technology or whatever it is, and go work for someone. Because that's the safest thing to do. And we've got to be intellectually honest with ourselves. We're not far out of a place where there were only certain jobs that we could get and have anyway. We're not far out of a time in a place where the only entrepreneurs that we really knew were during the segregated times where those entrepreneurs were entrepreneurs out of necessity. And then entrepreneurs actually wound up going away because it was now education, go work for this place or go work for that place, and you went to work. So I think that we've got to be intellectually honest about what timing looks like for us. But we also have to be intellectually honest about where we are in this time in our lives and what we can do to help leapfrog that. Anyone who knows me knows that I have so I'm first generation college goer. So certainly first generation to have a master's degree and a law degree, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
My niece, who said to me when she finished high school, Uncle Nolan, I want to move to LA with you. She moves to LA with me, becomes this internet influencer, and she says to me, hey, people keep asking me about my nose rings. What do you think? I said, you know what? Let's source nose rings out of China. You can start selling those things. She then goes on to build a high six-figure business in no time.
Amazing.
Not once did she ever think that she could not be an entrepreneur. Not once did I ever tell her that she could not. Every time that I got a chance, I told her, here's how you can. So I think what we have to do is to continue to change our minds. And again, we're barely a generation out of that. Like, we're barely a generation out of good work at post office, good work in the government, get a good government job. Let's not pretend, because all the time that we pretend, we actually retard our ability to actually leapfrog forward.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a country where if you're not leapfrogging forward and you're pretending and you're moving slowly, you are actually going to only be the data being collected. You will never be the data collected.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Thank you so very much for that. And I wanted to just direct everyone to their website for SmartMouth. It's msrtmouth.com. We're excited to see what will come for you and your organization. Thank you so much, Mr. Rollins, for coming and speaking with us today. I'd like to at least give maybe two of our participants the opportunity to ask you a question. So who in here would like to ask Mr. Rollins a question? If you'd like to, if you could raise your hand. So I see we have a shy audience today. Okay. So then what we'll do then.
Oh, we've got a couple raised hands. So we're going to start with, we have Zane, followed by Kyle. Oh, Zane. So let's go. Zane, I don't know if you're still, so Zane, you're going to take you off mute now. Zane.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. So my question is, like, so for myself, I've always been interested in being an entrepreneur since I was in like high school. I started selling lip gloss, and then I went to lashes, and I came to college, I did hair. I tried to do a clothing brand. So like, do you have any tips with like singling in on something that you really want to do? Because like for me, it's like I'm interested in so many things. I kind of get lost in just trying to do everything.
Yeah. So Zane, listen. First of all, I appreciate.
It's Janae. Sorry, I meant to say that in the beginning. It's Janae.
Right now, I know that's Janae. Janae, I appreciate you jumping up and asking the question and to having the courage to do so, and also having the courage to put yourself out there like that. I think it's really short. You have to make a decision and go with it. And actually, because the truth is, you can't do everything. You actually have to make a decision. I always tell people, be quick to make a decision and slow to change. Because the truth is, if you think you can do everything, you're actually going to do nothing. If everything is important, then nothing is important. So wherever you are, if there are things that you are truly passionate about and you have people who are buying from you or looking for you to provide that, start there. But absolutely make a decision. One of the biggest challenges in terms of actually being able to be an entrepreneur is actually being indecisive. That is the indecisiveness, procrastination, not having a plan. Those things will kill your ability to be an entrepreneur. So Janae, focus in on one, maybe two things that are closely related and roll with those, because you don't have the bandwidth. I have a mentor who would tell me, son, you have 100 pounds of pressure. You have to make a decision about where you're going to put that 100 pounds, because it can't go beyond 100 pounds. And anything that you actually take from one side goes to the other. So you have to be really strict with yourself about that and really be focused
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hello, my name is Kyle Jacobs. I'm a senior agriculture major at Virginia State University. I really had a question. This kind of goes to anybody. Do you have any advice for some of the young entrepreneurs that kind of want to step into the marijuana industry? Because I think it's going to be much more challenging for us to be able to do it because of so many changing rules and regulations. And then, funding as well as being able to do businesses with national banks. So I just wanted to know if you had any advice for that.
So Kyle, but fortunately and unfortunately, I'm here in LA. So have been a part of, as the CEO of the Urban League, of really writing legislation around inclusion in the cannabis space, right? Really being really intentional about that. If you have an interest in it, I would really be looking at whatever state that you're in. If you're in Virginia, of course you are, wherever you're looking to do this work, understand what the legislation looks like in that area. Keep your eyes on the legislation, because again, I always say follow the money. Like when you see where the money is going, that's how you know what's happening. But most importantly, how the legislation moves is going to be critical. And what I mean by that is it's simply this. Because marijuana is a regulated substance, the regulations are going to tell you who can. And because the regulations are going to tell you who can, ensuring that the regulations are saying that there's an opportunity that is specifically for people of color or minorities or those folks, look at what the regulations will be for your state and for your area, and make sure that you're understanding what that looks like, and then move accordingly with that. There should be opportunities throughout the country for minorities to be able to play in the space. And there's some interesting things that have been happening here in LA and in California, where a number of the, per license that are actually issued per cycle, a percentage of them have to go to women and minority owned, whether it be on the retail or the grow side. So I would be definitely paying attention to the legislation, definitely paying attention to who the players are in the market right now, and definitely be paying attention to what their business models look like. Because a part of this is, just being intellectually honest, there's nothing new under the sun. If there's a business model that's actually out there working and it's actually done a lot of the work for you, make sure that you're looking at that, looking how they're actually providing shelf space for the consumers. Make sure you're looking at how they're actually getting customers and those things. But for something like that, an emerging opportunity, I'm looking at the legislation. Because it's heavily regulated, the legislation is the place that's really going to be your opportunity to see where opportunity actually is or it isn't for a person who wants to get into the space.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to break out into rooms. Again, Mr. Rollins, thank you so much for your wisdom and for the time that you've taken to share your wisdom and your company's journey with us. We so appreciate you. So thank you. Thank you so much. But now what we're going to do is we're going to actually move to our breakout rooms. What this means is that every one of the organizations that's here today will be available for those of you who would like to ask questions of them. Mr. O'Keefe, would you be able to explain how people will now access the breakout rooms?
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you have seen, we are in a Zoom webinar. I am going to paste a link into chat, as well as share my screen with the we appeared on maybe the problem sharing screen is on my end. So I'm going to paste a link to our breakout sessions. It is going to take you away from this webinar and set you into a Zoom meeting link. So here comes the link for it. So what is going to happen then? Once you click the link that I put into chat, you will be taken into a separate Zoom meeting. My colleague Chandler will be in there as long with our host Patrice, and they can help serve as traffic control. But at the bottom of your screen, when you join the Zoom meeting, you will see a section, an icon for breakouts. You can select any one of the organizations that you heard from and join a informal breakout discussion with the leaders. If there is an extra organization that we did not find represented and that was not able to get their information up into our session, then we will announce it in chat, and we have a couple unnamed breakout rooms we will assign live the extra breakout rooms to those organizations. So just to recap, you will click on the link that I'm about to post right now. Once you select that link, you will be taken into a different meeting. You will leave this webinar into the Zoom meeting, and it will then allow you to join at the bottom of your screen any breakout room. So you should see the link. If this link for some reason is not working for you, I'm also going to paste the regular join information and the meeting ID so that you can attend. Great question from Chuck Mills. At the end of our breakout session at about 3:55, Patrice, unless you tell me wrong, we will be come back together and Patrice will provide closing remarks. But Patrice, can you confirm that?
Yes, I would like to do that.
Okay, so final instructions. Click that link in chat, head in, select your breakout rooms. You can go mix and mingle in different rooms. And then Patrice, we will call everyone back together by closing breakout rooms for an on-time closure. Thank you very much. And we will see everybody in the breakout rooms. I will be remaining here for 5 minutes to troubleshoot, and the breakout rooms will be live. Again, the link is now in chat. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the breakout rooms.